This is a Women at Web podcast series powered by KICTAnet, supported by DW Akademie. Women at Web seeks to raise women's voices in multiple online platforms and a diverse range of subjects. KICTAnet has carried out advocacy campaigns and digital security and literacy training. Women at Web is also an initiative at a regional level as well as a national level that teams up with AMWIK, the Association of Media Women in Kenya, and Siasa Place. Welcome to this episode of Women at Web podcast series. This is episode 2. And today we're discussing the effects of online gender-based violence and how it's affecting women and their participation democratically. And I am Mwara Gishanga, and I'm joined by two incredible experts. I will let them introduce themselves.
Thank you, Mwara. My name is Miriam Obara, and I'm Communications Officer at Siasa Place. And I also help implement in the team for Women at Web. Thank you.
My name is James Omadhai. I'm the Director of Programs and Advocacy at the Bloggers Association of Kenya. I've been doing digital rights advocacy work for a very, very long time. And also, I'm also a content creator, an influencer, podcaster, a lot of digital things. Right. And I'm happy to be here, of course.
Karibu sana. And I'm just going to jump on that one because you mentioned you're a content creator.
Yes.
And what are your views sort of as we've seen a rise of women being more content creators?
Yeah.
So what are sort of your views of their participation in general online?
It's quite interesting because especially in the blogging world, blogging, vlogging, and in recent time podcasting, women in recent years have been leading in terms of numbers, which is actually really, really great. It used to be the other way around, and I felt that at the time it used to be around access, but there are way more women now creating content in all verticals of digital. And it's a beautiful thing. In the BAKE Awards, by the way, for 3 years running, women have emerged, tops in the sense that there are a lot more women winners than men. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a win. And it's good to hear because I think we're still fighting for that. We're still fighting for more women to participate online.
Of course.
And not just passively, but contribute in the spaces that they're in the expertise that they're in, so that their voices are more renowned. Just because we need to see women as tokens, as people we can look at, so that like younger kids can look up to them and be like, yeah, I can actually be a content creator. I can be a politician. I could be, a scientist. I could develop, I could build. And it's really encouraging to see that. However, there's still a lag in a sense. So do you think there's a difference between how men participate online as opposed to women?
The issue with women specifically is that once you become popular, you start getting hate. And what happens, and this, so this happens, across all sectors, but mostly people who are popular online or people who are popular offline. So these are women now. So let's say a media personality. So let's say this popular YouTuber. You do one small thing, and people all of a sudden are saying, "Oh, you're stealing someone's man." I'm like, I'm here to create content. I mean, what has my personal, whatever have anything to do with anything? Mm-hmm. And the problem that I find is that we have offline problems that are coming online. There's a lot of patriarchy and misogyny in our society. And then the internet is giving these people access to be able to insult, for lack of a better word, and be able to throw barbs at people they would never in their entire life be able to talk to or have this sort of access to. And also the internet is creating a conduit. It has velocity in the sense that, these insults could be coming depending on why a certain group of people are mad. These insults could be coming in like 3 insults a minute. And can you imagine the woman who is a content creator, the woman who is existing online, is a human being, and what would happen is they may stop engaging with these platforms the way they used to because of all this hate. And we've seen that. Or they sort of step back, which is not what we want. We want a lot of people to be creating content. We want a lot of people to be engaging on these platforms. But then, here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think abuse online and just the rise of the violence against women is such a double standard. And women are placed under a microscope for the littlest thing that has nothing to do with their contribution in the space.
Indeed.
And we don't see the same for men. And so it's really very interesting to see, as much as we're pushing for more women to participate online, there's that, fear for when they want to voice out their whatever expertise or whatever interest that they have, they are immediately bamboozled by the internet goons. And so they retract back very quickly into their cocoons just because they don't feel safe anymore to participate and contribute to this space that has immense opportunities for them. And so it brings me to you, Miriam, and just for you to speak a bit about the Women at Web Safe Spaces regional campaign that's going on right now, more so because it's fighting to ensure that we are creating more spaces for women to participate. So you could just speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks, Mara. So just a little bit about Safe Spaces is Safe Spaces was a campaign that started last year, and it was with the Women at Web network. So it's a collective of different organizations in East Africa. We have Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and in Kenya. So in Kenya, there's Siasa Place, AMWIK, and KICTAnet. And this year, we decided to organize a little bit better. And each country is trying to sensitize people online using their platforms, just emphasizing how online violence is real violence. We realize that the offline tends to win into the online space. And so a lot of the guys or the people who abuse others online, we realized it's women who are mostly attacked. And so we realized it's important for us to emphasize that. It's not that it's just women alone, but it's mostly women. So this year, we've just been sharing different ways. And for SP, we decided to do a YouTube series, which is coming out next week on Tuesday. And we decided to share stories of 8 women who are very vocal online and, in different areas, LGBTQ, in leadership, politics, just to share their perspective on what online violence is and what it's done to them, and how we can all gather and garner together to create safe spaces for women online. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I think it's important for there to be some representation for women to just see that, and I liked what you said, that online violence is real violence, because oftentimes people think it's all banter, that it can't harm you. It's happening,
I don't think they think it's banter. They know they're insulting you. They say it's banter when they've been caught and there are real world consequences.
Yes.
Now they're like, oh my God, I was joking.
Yeah, absolutely. And to think that it doesn't have grave consequences to the person who actually is on the receiving end, the victim, is insane, because oftentimes that person has become, is suffering now with mental health issues. That person becomes very depressed. Their confidence is completely obliterated. They're more insecure. They're feeling unsafe, because some of these violences that transpire over devices also actually come to real life, where you've seen a number of women coming forward and speaking of being stalked, being someone triangulating where they live, watching them, taking pictures of them. They have no consent. They don't know what this is going on. So for it to be watered down as not real violence is an immense disservice to the great effects it has on women and people identifying as women. And so I think it's important for us to understand that we are coming to our general elections in Kenya, meaning that we'll have women participating in the political space as aspirants, as politicians. So, and I know Siasa Place works a lot on the political front. So what do you think that will look like now for women online?
So you just mentioned, like, online violence is affecting more women. And so what we're seeing is, what we're trying to do is encourage more women to vie for positions. And we have a program currently running called Wezesha Binti, where we are taking 30 women aspirants just through a course on, just how to present themselves and package themselves to be able to vie for these seats, to put them at a better position. So how can we amplify, their profiles? How can we amplify these women in these spaces? How can we highlight to the public that, there are these wonderful women who are vying for these positions? So that's part of what we're doing, apart from just the YouTube series. But also for us, it's so important for young women and men to be engaged in governance, because it's something we totally believe in. And we see that a lot of these decisions that are being made in parliament are heavily affected by the leaders who we pick. So we definitely want to see more young people on these spaces, on these seats. And I think even last week on the paper, there was a full front page spread of young aspirants who are vying for seats. And it was thanks to, just not our organization, but also other youth serving organizations who decided, okay, the public needs to know, okay, there are these guys who are vying, young women, who, because we only just see, the two people, but there are other people. So I think for us, it's trying to highlight that there are other candidates who are vying, and also trying to help amplify for them online, on our spaces. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Wow, that's incredible. I think it's really important to amplify and highlight these stories, because even I didn't know this. So hearing that a lot of young men and women are participating to be leaders of this country is really inspiring. It gives me a glimpse of hope for this country, in a sense, which is great to hear. And Wameta, I don't know what thoughts you would have of now this aspirants now who are specifically women now being online and sort of talking about where their aspirations are for this country, where they're vying for, what sort of changes they want to make. What do you think that looks like with the complexities now we understand about online gender-based violence for this women? Yeah.
I think the very first thing is they need to be online. That's a must. Yeah. Because it's good. Online, marketing and PR is very cost effective. The second thing is that they need digital security training, and also they need a lot of counseling support, because they will be insulted. This is the time all of a sudden, a boyfriend from like 20 years ago all of a sudden has your nudes and sharing, So I feel like, so a lot of, they need obviously to use these spaces to be able to spread information about themselves and about their agenda, etc. and all that stuff, but they need to be protected. It doesn't necessarily have to be just one organization doing it. It could be a consortium of organizations trying to support them, because what is happening is they will basically face the sort of like online violence that we talked about. And women, these things have always happened. Gilu was talking about how when back in the day when she was starting out, she used to wear three dresses or whatever, because they'll try and strip her. Now people now will strip you, quote unquote, online, because the idea that a woman can be a leader is something that men have not embraced, obviously, because of known reasons. So you can expect that obviously there'll be hate, but because you're prepared, then you can be mentally and technologically prepared, for that challenge.
And I like what you said, in a sense, because unfortunately, being that it's a very patriarchal society that we live in, we wouldn't expect less when it comes to any sort of participation for a woman in whatever level. So we would anticipate that women who are going to be political aspirants would face online gender-based violence. And I liked what you mentioned about being technologically prepared, sort of like the digital security skill sets that they need. I hear people talk about a password being like the first initial safeguard that you need in any sort of operation in the devices that you have, as well as building a consortium and a coalition around you that backs you. I know Martha Karo is one to be known to say, block. Learn to use the B button as a woman. And so what other ways do you think that they could protect themselves online, Miriam?
So right now, we can look at it in two perspectives. We have what are our laws and policies, governing safe spaces for women specifically, because we have the Computer and Misuse Cybercrime, Act, and it's, it has a little bit of a gray area. It doesn't specifically address the online violence that women experience. So I think there's need for us to lobby and push to include a policy that safeguards women in Kenya and their online spaces. And apart from that, I feel like there's also the need for crowd support. At this time, when you see a woman being bullied online, 9 out of 10 times when you're seeing a lady trending, it's not because she did something great. Most times she's trending because people are trying to punch low blows at her. So how is it that we can stop sitting from the sidelines and now literally support? Don't keep quiet in your platform, in your social media platform. If you see someone being trolled, help them online, say something, speak up. So a lot of what we're trying to do is also sort of create an online army of sorts. So sort of get influencers, who can be on that SOS. When you see a woman being attacked, you're like, hey, people, we need to go there and save her. So it's more let's stop being bystanders and just now start really participating. So I think that's some of the ways that we can, create that safe online space. On top of that, Wamadhai mentioned doing digital literacy trainings. So we've been doing a lot of that. We've trained about 130 women so far, influencers and also leaders. So just trying to take them through digital literacy, advocacy, and also the mental and psychosocial support, because a lot of women experience trauma when they're attacked online and you don't realize it. You're traumatized because you end up shying away from your space. So there's a lot of need for that, doing a lot more of that, and not just for women in the urban area. Let's also think of Mama Mboga, how can we also empower her to be able to maximize her online space. Yeah.
I feel like these things are already happening. Basically what you're talking about, Miriam, a lot of people just see this nonsense. They're like, this can't be true. I feel like that is something that has been happening. So as BAKE, our members have been attacked, I think, from day one. I think I joined Twitter in 2009. And I remember the first instances of women being trolled, especially popular women, was around 2010, 2011. And there's a lady called Aisha Ali, and she organized a bunch of women. She's a big member and also a prolific digital rights activist. And she organized a bunch of women to be able to respond to some of these things. And she created a lot of safe spaces for women. There was a time between, I don't know how long you've been on Twitter, but there was a time between, I think, 2011 to around 2013, 14. It was just a mess. and she created like a lot of spaces for women, safe spaces for women on Twitter, and then also educated a lot of men. And some people actually changed, not because they changed offline or their hearts changed as far as the misogyny and patriarchy and all these bad things they feel about women. They just saw that there might be consequences because some people lost jobs, some people lost opportunities. From then on, I've found that the space is toxic, but there's still like a lot of safe spaces that women carved out for themselves. And then also they got allies in the form of either organizations or men who are now able to have this conversation. Sometimes countering some of these hate messages doesn't necessarily mean you go to that troll and then start saying, oh, but this person is nice. It's just going to your timeline, and I'm like, surely I know this person, this cannot be true, and that's it. And that helps because I have a big following, I have a big space, and if 10 of us do it, and then that's it, it's just countered. Or people will just say, these are just trolls who are talking, and that's it. Yeah. So I feel like yes, a lot needs to be done, especially for certain classes, politics. Oh my God, that's like another
yeah.
Especially politics.
Yeah.
A lot needs to be done there, but I feel like the lessons we can learn lessons from what has been done before, and now do it at scale. Try and do it at scale. And I like what Siasa Place is doing in educating influencers to be able to know some of these things. I get insulted every day. I had to learn these things. I had to learn these things by myself, but I have the privilege of being a man. And for me now, it's not going to be as vile, and as personal as if I were a woman. Women who are in the same position, get like 10 times, the attacks that I get. But a lot, yes, can be done, but a lot has been done as well.
Yeah, and I like what you said because oftentimes it's improving and scaling what already is existing. And just to mention that at KICTAnet, we have been doing some trainings for university students or just young women who are just in the world who want to be content creators. And out of that training on digital citizenship and security and understanding just the space that's online and how it is for women and the reality of it, we build a coalition sort of from this cohorts that we have been training for women. So what happens is that within those cohorts, and we've built this on WhatsApp, which is very interesting, if there's a case that comes up where one of the women or a woman has been assaulted online, it's immediately we're already informed on the WhatsApp group. So we go, if it's on Twitter, if it's on Facebook or Instagram, we already are there to report. We're already there to sort of just be ready to build this coalition to block, because now with social media platforms, what happens is that they work with numbers to know if content has been goes against their community guidelines, which I think there's room for improvement on social media platforms, where there's need for more accountable responsibility in how women and people who identify as women are treated on the spaces. However, I love that idea of just improving already coalitions that have already been built before, and sort of just running up more support, gunning up more women and men to support the spaces for women, so that we just have our own cohorts of spaces where we just move with the graces.
I'd also like to add that as BAKE, we've been involved in content moderation. So basically, if there's any content that goes against community standards on any platform, so we tell our members to let us know, so that we can organize other people so that they can report. Also, we work with Facebook. We are part of the trusted network. So in case we get content, we can funnel it directly through them. Facebook obviously has many users, so when a user reports, it's hard to it takes longer. It takes longer, but through the network, we're able to like funnel to the right people like really, really quickly. But content moderation is a big problem, and I feel like we need to engage these social media companies so that they can do more, because reporting, even when you report 200 people, it takes so long for action to be taken, and sometimes the content is not taken down. So the issue of content moderation, I feel like it's huge, and especially now that we have the elections coming, I feel like we need to be talking to these people. I feel like it's easier on Facebook, but Twitter is just Twitter. Like you can report a bunch of you, but still
nothing happens. Yeah, I do believe so. I think there's a lot more that can be done by these social media companies, and I think it's important for them to partner with local organizations who already sort of have a presence locally to contextualize some of the content, because a lot of the reporting also, like, because of the content moderators themselves who don't understand sort of like the language that's already existent, becomes very problematic. Because if you're abused probably in a slang language, that moderator wouldn't filter it as abuse. So there's really need for more action to be taken on social media platforms. I think we're just concluding right now, and I would like to ask you on a personal level, what sort of changes do you think you can make to create safer spaces for women online? I'll start with Miriam.
I think I mentioned this before, but I'd just like to mention it again. Men, stand up and speak up. Don't sit back when you see someone being harassed online. Speak up for them. Don't sit there on the sidelines. Yeah, and use the tools that are there. There's report, you block it, you do that. Use whatever tools that are there to fight back. So
Nice.
Personally, I've been doing this a very, very long time, and I'll tell you one thing: see something, say something. In the sense that I report, I block people that are serial offenders. And also something else, I'm always advocating for women who create spaces, safe spaces for other women online, or organizations, or men, or whoever is doing that. I'm always supporting them, and I'm always trying to engage these social media companies so that they can know that this is a problem, and they should actually put more resources as far as this particular thing is concerned. What is happening is, today we're talking about women, but there are many other marginalized groups, and what happens is they get the same hate. And so, marginalized groups, are an important part of our society. Women are more than men. We have children. We have LGBTQ+, blind people, etc. So, it's I feel like it's something that a lot more people should pay attention to, not just social media companies, but policymakers, lawmakers, government, etc., so that we can create a safe space. And that's what I have continuously done, and and hopefully that's the work that I'll continue doing.
Thank you. Very well said. I think for me as well, just to echo what you've both said, you both have said, say something, do something.
Yeah.
I can block, I can report. I don't have to be a part of the community that says silent. I don't have to be the part of a community that laughs when I look at these things and talk about it outside the platform, but I can do something about it. So that's the end of our episode today. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Mara Gishanga.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.